This is the English 2.0 podcast. Communicate globally. Raise your level. Speak English naturally. Hello and welcome to episode number 21 of the English 2.0 podcast. My name is Al. Thank you for watching today. In today's main topic, we're going to talk about 5 tips to help you with making small talk. So please stay tuned for that. But first of all, I wanted to mention that recently I did an interview with Michael from Happy English, New York. And he shared some really fantastic tips in that interview. So that's going to be coming up on the regular podcast feed here, but it's going to be an audio only. So if you see an audio come up with for an interview with Michael, please check it out. And you can take that with you, of course, in your mobile device, your iPod or iPhone or Android or whatever device you use. As usual, and that's just going to be an audio, so please listen to that. And he shares some fantastic ideas for helping you improve your English. So check that out. That's going to be coming up very shortly on the same English 2.0 podcast feed. So again, that'll be audio only and not video. So please check that out. So let's get started with a pronunciation point. All right, in today's pronunciation point, let's talk about the difference between college and courage. All right, so of course, college is also very similar to university, and courage is when you are brave or you have a lot of heart to do something that might be scary or that a lot of people don't want to do. So let's talk about the difference between them. Now, they're very similar, of course. We start with the first sound, of course, in college. Okay. Now here's the first part. Is going to be what I call a flat O sound. Okay. So you're going to open up your mouth wide. Caw. Okay. So college. All right. Now if we compare it to courage, okay, it's quite a different sound. That's more of an oo sound, okay, so cur, or like a cur, okay? So courage, more of a ER type sound actually. Okay, so college, courage. All right, now the second part, of course, is the L and R difference, okay? So in college we have the L sound, and so in this case we want to activate our tongue. We really want to, make sure our tongue is working strongly, okay? College. All right, good. Now with courage, now we want to make sure our mouth muscles are moving, okay? The muscles around our lips and our mouth to make the R sound. Courage. Okay, no tongue at all. All right? Okay, now the last part of the word is basically the same. Yeah, the edge. Okay, so that part is basically the same. Okay, so we want to make sure to get that first vowel sound correct, and then the R and L. And the emphasis on both words are both in the first syllable, okay? So college, courage, okay? Great, let's do an example sentence for both, okay? Hey, next year I'm going to start college. Next year I'm going to start college. Okay, great. Now let's try courage. So please listen and repeat after me. Wow, you really have a lot of courage. Wow, you really have a lot of courage. All right, excellent. Good job. So that is the difference between college and courage. I hope it helps, and please practice. And if you would like more in-depth training on how to really pronounce L and R, please sign up for my free pronunciation course, and that is at alsensei.com/tips. If you would like more natural sounding English pronunciation, please sign up for my free pronunciation course at alsensei.com/tips. All right, in today's main topic, we are going to talk about 5 tips for making small talk. So the first question is, well, Al, what is small talk? Well, my definition of small talk is light conversation in 2 types of situations. So one, when you are in a kind of uncomfortable silence, and 2, when you want to build a relationship with someone. Okay, so that just very light conversation with not so serious topics. That is small talk. So for example, one example would be when you are on a flight and you are traveling alone, you're sitting next to someone, and maybe you're flying for several hours, and so you feel a bit uncomfortable with the silence, so you want to start chatting, and that's one case for small talk. Another example is when you are meeting someone new, perhaps at a party, and you think you might want to, talk to this person more in the future. You want to build that relationship, and that's another example of a time when you need small talk. All right, so let's get into the tips. All right, the first tip for making small talk is have a list of questions prepared in advance, okay? And what I mean is, students, when I've taught this lesson recently to students, the number one question I get is, I don't know what kind of questions to ask someone or a stranger. I don't know what questions are okay or what questions I can ask. And so, to make it simple to start, have a list ready to go in advance. Now, these are questions that you can ask almost anyone, anytime, in any situation, okay? And again, you don't need a huge list, just maybe 5 or so. And here are a few that I would recommend. The first one is, where are you from? Okay, everyone can answer that question, and it's a very natural question when you first meet someone. Number 2 is, what do you do? Okay, this is also a very common, natural question to ask about someone's work that they do, or if perhaps they might be a student. Number 3 is this your first trip to, and then the place, okay, for example, is this your first trip to Tokyo? Okay, now, of course, that has to be a situation where that person is traveling or you're not, from the same place. So if the other person is from another place, you can ask them, is this your first trip to Tokyo? Okay, and number 4 is, are you enjoying the party? Okay, now, of course, you have to be at a party or, wherever you are you enjoying the conference? Are you enjoying the music? Are you enjoying the flight? Okay, so just whatever situation you're in, just ask, are you enjoying? And question number 5 is, what do you think about blank? Okay? So for example, if you have hot weather, you can say, oh, what do you think about this hot weather? Or what do you think about the Olympics? Or anything in the news, anything, again, light that the other person can answer very easily. So those would be just a quick list of my 5 questions that you can ask anyone at any time. Have a list ready to go. All right, tip number 2 for making small talk is use the situation. All right. Now, you have to think about the situation and also think about what can anyone answer. Okay, so remember, the purpose of small talk is not to quiz someone or test someone. The purpose is to build your relationship, get to know that person better, okay? So we just want to get them talking. We don't need to challenge them or, have some complicated question. So for example, if you are at a party, okay, as we talked about in tip number 1, you can ask, oh, are you enjoying the party? Okay, everyone can answer that question. Or perhaps if you're at a party, what's the occasion? Okay, maybe if it's somebody's birthday party, of course you were both invited to the party by the same person. You could say, oh, how do you know the host? Okay? How do you know Jason, if Jason is the host? Okay, that's another question you can ask. Or if you are perhaps on a flight, okay, so you're making small talk with the passenger next to you. So of course you're traveling to the same place, so you can use that. You say, oh, are you traveling on business? Do you have family in Bangkok? Okay, or whatever. Just use the situation. Oh, you can say, oh, do you like airplane food? Okay, or whatever. You know, anyone can answer very easily in that situation. So use the situation. All right, tip number 3 for making small talk is show interest. All right, so of course it sounds pretty simple, but a lot of people tend to kind of overlook this because you know, when you speak in a second language, you kind of get caught up in, you know, making correct sentences with correct grammar, or, you know, translating your thoughts into the second language. So don't forget to show interest. Now, one tip that I would give to help you show interest is to use a strategy called echo word. Okay? So an echo word is simply when someone makes a comment to you, you kind of just pick out the key word and make it a question. Okay, so if somebody says to you, yeah, and I went skiing in Switzerland last week. Okay, now there are a couple key words in that sentence, but for me, I would think that the word that jumps out to me is Switzerland. So if somebody says, yeah, I went skiing in Switzerland last week, I would say, Switzerland? Okay, so you pick the key word, make it a question. Switzerland? Okay. Now from this point, you would want to follow up with a question, probably you know, regular WH question, or you could just make a comment. Okay? So I would say, oh, Switzerland? Oh, how long did you stay there for? Or Switzerland? Oh, how are the conditions, the skiing conditions? Okay? Or Switzerland? Where did you go in Switzerland? Okay? Or Switzerland? Wow, that sounds great. Okay, so something like that. Show interest to the other person, and that will help you greatly. All right, tip number 4 for making small talk is simply the question, how about you? Okay, so if somebody asks you a good question and something that you would like to, you know, ask back to them, the same question, you can simply just say, oh, how about you? Okay, of course, you want to answer the question first. So maybe they ask you, oh, what do you like to do in your free time? And you say, oh, I really love to play golf, and blah, blah, blah. So you talk a little bit about your golf, and then you say, oh, how about you? Okay, so you want to ask them as well, what do you like to do in your free time? And so that's a very good question to ask. It's very simple, of course, and again, you don't want to use it every time for every question, but if you get stuck, you can't think of anything to say, you can just kind of ask that back to the person, and that's a good thing to have ready to go. So again, how about you? Oh, and by the way, what do you like to do in your free time is another one of those prepared questions you can have ready to go. So add that to the list. All right, tip number 5 for making small talk is end politely. So many students ask me, oh, Al, how should I end the conversation politely? Or how should I end? Well, usually there are 2 situations when you need to end the conversation. And so the first one is when there's some urgent matter. Okay, so perhaps you have to catch a flight, or you get a phone call or something, and you need to end pretty suddenly. Okay, so in that case, you can be very polite. You can say, oh, excuse me, but I have to take this call. Okay, so excuse me, but I have to blah, blah, blah. Okay. So excuse me, but I have to go to a meeting. Okay, so anything like that you can use for an urgent matter. The other case is when you just feel like you are naturally ready to end the conversation. So perhaps you've talked for enough time. You feel that it's a good place to naturally finish. Perhaps your flight has arrived, so it's a good place to end. So you can use a good phrase to show that you're ending the conversation, and one of the common phrases would be, "It was nice talking with you." Okay, one more time. "It was nice talking with you." Okay, so simply a nice question or a nice phrase like that, and then they will probably respond by saying, "Oh yes, and it was nice talking with you too." Then if you like, you can exchange contact information if you think you would want to be in touch again another time in the future, or you can just simply say, "All right, well, have a good trip, have a nice journey," or if you're on a flight, or you could say, "Well, enjoy the rest of the party," or good luck on your presentation, or whatever the case is. Okay, so you can end that way. So those are two ways to end politely. Okay, so those are 5 of my top tips for making small talk. If you have a good tip that you would like to, or that has worked for you, please share it with us in the comments below, and we'd love to hear from every one of you. If you have a good tip for small talk, please share it with us. And again, these 5 are not the only tips, but we'd love to hear if you have something that has worked in your experience. So please share with us in the comments below. All right, and I hope that was helpful. And so give those a try, and your small talk will be even more successful next time. All right, today let's take a look at a website called dictionary.com. And of course, this is an online dictionary for English to English, and I think it's a really good resource for you as you check the meanings of words and also check the spelling. So let's take a look at the main feature, of course, which is to check the meaning. And I'll type in a word here, specific, and enter. And as you can see, it takes me to the listing. Let's scroll down. And here we see our word specific, and we see a little icon here we can click on, and it'll tell us, it'll kind of speak the word out loud for us and pronounce it so we can hear the pronunciation. We have some ads here, so be careful of that, but just go down below and we have the definitions, and you can see it is an adjective and it has 5 definitions here. Now if you want to see how it is used in a sentence, we can go back up and just click, and it'll take it right down to example sentences for us right there. Let's go back. If we go again here, we can see the origin. Click on it, and it'll take us right to the origin of the word specific, and we can check that out right there. Now, one of the great features of this site is, let's scroll back up, and if we click on thesaurus, it'll take us directly to thesaurus.com. Thesaurus will give us similar meanings of the word specific, so it'll take us right to the specific listing here. And again, we have the part of speech adjective, we have a definition, very brief, and then here we see synonyms, which are similar words to specific, and we also have a couple of antonyms, which of course are the opposite meanings of specific. Okay, now I can also just click right on a synonym here, precise, and it'll take me to the list for precise. Alright, let's go back to the dictionary.com homepage, and let's now see how it can help us with spelling. So let's say I have a word like accommodation, which of course means like a place to stay, like a hotel or something. And maybe I don't, I forgot if it has, 2 C's or 2 D's, or how do we spell it? So maybe I don't know, I just kind of guess, and I click on this to find it. See here, it says no dictionary results, so it means probably spell it wrong, but it'll kind of help us and say here, oh, did you mean accommodation? And now we can see, oh, there's 2 C's and 2 M's, 1 D here. So let's click on that. And
it'll take us to the correct listing for accommodation. And you can see that here. So that is dictionary.com. Please go ahead and use it. I think it'll be pretty helpful for you. And that is today's English 2.0 quick tip.
All right, that brings us to the end of episode number 21. Thank you so much again for watching. I hope it has been helpful to you. And if it has been helpful to you, please, don't be afraid to share it with a friend. And also, please join us on the ever-growing Facebook page. That is the English 2.0 Facebook fan page. And you can find that at facebook.com/speaknaturaleNglish. Also on Twitter, you can follow me at twitter.com/alsensei. And don't forget, if you would like to work more on your pronunciation, please sign up for my free pronunciation course. That's at alsensei.com/English. And you can get free access to that by just entering your name and email address, and you'll get immediate access to that course, completely free. All right, so thank you again, and we will see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.